What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Limitless Business Owners Podcast. My name is Andrew Giorgi, and I'm here with my co-host of the podcast, Dan Fisher. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, first of all, we want to welcome you. Okay, we're super excited to be on this journey, this business owner journey with you, and help you along the way. Okay, our whole goal with this podcast and really our passion in life is to bring the everyday business owner content and stories they can relate to, and also fresh new perspectives, fresh new mindsets, new thoughts, new ideas, strategies, tactics to help you grow your business. Okay, if you take one thing out of each episode and start implementing it into your life and business today, we promise you're going to start seeing massive growth. Let's hop into the show. Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another week. I'm here with my boy, Dan. Dan's getting ready to move, so he's feeling it.
Yeah,
it's like packing time. Moving sucks.
The last month, and it's just we've got the race to all the packing and making sure everything's on time, make sure the utilities are good. So it's the stuff that I hate doing, but I mean it's all necessary and it's still exciting.
Yeah, you're gonna have a nice breath of fresh air after you're there. You're gonna get all your stuff moved. You're gonna have that breath of fresh air, and then you're gonna be like, now we're going to unpack our stuff.
Yes.
Now we got to take the boxes apart. We lived out of boxes for a solid month because, it just takes they say moving is a huge life event.
Yep.
It's one of the most stressful events.
And moving cross country is.
Yeah, you're not moving down the road. You're moving
right
hundreds of miles. So, well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
exciting.
Awesome.
Exciting all the way.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about the recession.
Bum, bum, bum.
Right. The government, of course, says, and this might even flag our episode, I don't even know.
Might.
Right? The government says there isn't a recession. They're changing the definition of recession. Well, we're 100% in the traditional definition of recession. We are in a recession.
Yeah.
So
the traditional form was what? 2 quarters below a certain percentage?
Yeah. And we're there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've been there.
So, and I'm not sure, why we want to, of course we want to avoid a recession, but the reality is there's cycles, there's ups and downs, right? So for every up, there's got to be a down. It's just how things play out. And, the economy probably over the past 5-6 years has been decent. Yep. Pretty good growth, So we were due, and that doesn't mean it's going to be some people say it's going to be another depression, whatever else. Who knows? And, I hate saying this. This may sound non-empathetic, but who cares?
Right.
You keep doing what you got to do. And that's what we're going to talk about today is you can't let this recession deter your business from growing or from doing something special, right? And a lot of business owners will allow a recession, a spooky recession, they will start to shrink.
Right.
And we want to avoid that. We want to avoid your business shrinking in this time.
Yeah, a lot of big businesses are made out of recessions. It's just, look back. I don't know. I should have done a little bit more research, but I know a lot of people are saying Amazon and there's huge companies you could look up, and they're all started during recessions because the reason. Whenever a recession happens, it clears the way for these smaller businesses to really start thriving. These aren't necessarily, some of them were brand new businesses. Some were, within their first year, and then they just blew up. And that's because they used their strategy during the recession in a smart way. Yep. They didn't necessarily double down on advertising, but they didn't stop advertising.
Yeah. And there's some people, some of the better businesses, and this is what the better businesses do. And look, if you haven't set your business up to thrive in a recession, then you have some thinking to do, because there are businesses out there that have figured out the game plan already, and they're not stopping, right? I'm not saying that to slow you down, but you now have some catch up game to play and understand, okay, how do we still grow and thrive during this time? And like Dan said, some people might shrink advertising. But guess what? If a lot of places are shrinking advertising, what does that mean? There's more opportunity.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of big businesses will do that. And I heard a good analogy with a recession the other day. It was from Patrick Bet David. And he was saying that whenever the whenever a recession hits, it's basically like a forest fire hitting. For instance, that you have these small plants trying to get the light normally, and then the bigger trees are kind of covering up the light. So let's say those are corporations, but in a forest fire, everything's taken out. Yeah, the small trees are taken out too, but what happens is the first thing to grow are the small trees because now they have access to that light, and the whole forest floor gets painted with these small trees, and then the bigger trees start to come back up again and start to take over or go back to where it was. But the thing is that it was a pretty good visualization for it, because it's like, oh, that's right, because now that capital kind of goes away. If, like you said, the advertising subsides a little bit, and it opens up the market, opens up, the paths for these small businesses, and it's just a little bit of a reset.
Yeah. And, I know a lot of our listeners are, like service-based business owners, right? You guys are out doing a service for someone, whether you're selling fences or putting pools in or doing additions and doing remodels. You might think, well, people are like not spending as much anymore. And I'm going to hold up right there. The people that have the money to do a remodel, they're spending regardless, right? What the people that are going to stop spending is probably the lower end of the middle class, right? They're going to have to tighten up a little because that's the ones it's really affecting, right? So some of your fringe jobs, those might be affected, but the big jobs are still there, right? And that's probably where a majority of your revenue comes from, and you might have to get creative, and this can be an opportunity for growth of figuring out how to get more of those jobs. And, recessions, could be a time, like I said, as it was in my notes, like be opportunistic, right? It's like, okay, while people are laying people off, why doesn't that mean you can identify a way to get some bigger jobs and hire someone? Right. And it may seem scary, right? But, anything growth doesn't come from fear. Fear doesn't lead to growth. Being fearful and scared leads to shrinking, leads to hiding and cornering. And we don't do that. Limitless business owners, you don't do that. Yeah. Right. You don't shrink back. You grow, you get bigger, you learn, you learn a new strategy during this time. You find opportunity. Yeah.
A lot of people that have that fear are the comfort driven people. And, you saw it in 2008, whenever employees from Wells Fargo were like, no, there's no way that we're going to get hit by this. Next thing you know, they're shutting down 3/4 of the whole operation. But us as business owners, that gives us an opportunity to be like, okay, we're going to be in control. We can really understand that it may affect the market in a very large way, but let's strategize beforehand, because then we can ride those 2 years or whatever it comes, 2 or 3 years it comes through.
And this is where the scrappy businesses and business owners really start to thrive. I actually heard Andy Frisell talk about this, and he talked about supplement superstores and First Form, two of the businesses that he owns, way back. And I think they started in like 2006 or 2007. Well, guess what happened right after that? Recession. And he talked about, hey, we didn't stop. Like, we actually added more. Like, we grew during that time because we did what people weren't willing to do. So, no, did we have money to go and spend on ads? No, but we did. We sent people out door to door. We started being scrappy. Like, we went back to the basics, and you have to have the willingness to go back to the basics. And that's where the opportunity is going to lie, because what happens is a lot of businesses is they kind of grow comfortable. Like what Dan's saying is they grow comfortable and they stop doing the basics. And then when something hits like this, they just don't know what to do. So they just shrink, and boom, opportunity is created for someone that's willing to do some of the work and put the work in and do some of the basics. There's actually massive opportunity in a recession. So, you have to change your thinking up, thinking, well, people are not spending as much money. That's a pessimistic mindset.
It's how can we get them to spend money?
Owners. Yeah. Limitless business owners, we don't say, well, they're not, we can't, or they're not. Like Dan just said, how can we, how can we reach these people? Do we have $5,000 a month right now to spend on ads? No, but maybe I start devoting Mondays to I call it guerrilla marketing. I remember back in like Vietnam. I think it was Vietnam. The Vietnamese, they used their terrain, and I think it's guerrilla warfare. I think that's what they called it. Like very siloed attack units that would surprise I think of marketing that same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, get back. Like that's the basics, so it's like, let's get back to that, using guerrilla marketing tactics and get on the ground, go to UPS, print off some cool looking note cards, whatever else, go door to door. You might, if you get 4 customers, was it worth it? Absolutely.
Yeah. No one's doing those things anymore. So you'd stick out.
No, and I'm not saying, look, if that's your only marketing strategy, no. Like obviously Dan and I, we are online guys. I think there's a lot of opportunity online, but you can actually couple the two and make something really, really
there's
special.
A lot of free stuff there.
I would be slapping
organic online too,
Man, exactly. And I would be slapping like a QR code or something for them to get online, right? So send a note card out, put a QR code on it to give them something even more past that, so like you can get creative, and you might, hopefully this just spurred some ideas for you. Like, okay, how do we reach more people?
Yeah.
Well, that's how you reach more people, right?
Yep.
Especially now. So, the first point is, don't be pessimistic, be an optimist.
Yeah. And
look for opportunity.
Who sees let's say who sees the recession the worst, right? Or maybe the first ones to see it. It probably travel and maybe some restaurants, like some frivolous things. But like, let's look at what they do. For instance, let's take fast food. Whenever I was 2008, I remember thinking, oh man, we were spending $7.50, $8.50 for like, I don't know, a medium Wendy's or something back then. But I remember them, the whole chain, all the chains went to like the dollar menu, and it was like, there was commercials for the dollar menu, and it wasn't just a dollar menu, it was $1.50 or whatever per item. So that dollar menu was just the perception of it being a more affordable way, but it still came out to around like $6. Yep. So that might have been actually even more profit for them because they're using cheaper materials and who knows what else. It's not like the premium chicken sandwich. You're getting the whatever, you're getting the filler. And, now you're buying it for $6 instead of $7.50. So they were creative. The perception was like, oh, I'm getting this deal. And you get like 6 chicken nuggets in a large drink or something, which costs them, less than $1. And then, you have travel people who get hit too. And there's different ways you can use that. If you understand people are getting unemployment checks, you can probably look up the median unemployment check. And you don't have to make a big trip. You can make local trips in your area, maybe to a sporting event or maybe to, I don't know, some maybe local high school thing, local history.
Yeah, something.
You got to get more creative. I saw it with COVID too. People didn't want to get creative and they didn't want to put the work in. But there's so much money to be made in just a little bit of creativity because you stick out.
Well, and there's a gap created in these times, right? So like if you want to come out on the other side of the recession, like really booming, now is a time to create the gap, right? What do they say? Like, use, I think it's motivational, like use Friday, like Fridays are like your distance, or like you put distance between you and the competition on Fridays. That's a big popular thing. It's the same thing with a recession. Use the recession to build distance between you and your competitors, right? And like Dan's saying, restaurants, travel, like, okay. Back in 2008, there were some restaurants that actually said, okay, normally our profit margins are like 40%. But what if we shrunk our profit margins to 25% and worked out this deal and we got a bigger influx of people in?
Right.
Let's create a deal that gets the whole family in. Let's create a deal where we can increase the meals per table. Let's create a deal where we sell 3, get creative in this time, and don't be afraid to, sometimes, I hate saying, rarely ever say, hey, use discounts, but now's the time, like Dan's saying, is use a discount to create perception, but it actually creates a bigger ticket type deal. And that'll actually, if you're worried about staying afloat, you're going to have to do some of those things. Like the difference between staying afloat and operating in the red, it's a big deal. If you're able to break even, then, and granted, of course we want you to have surplus. We want, and you can have surplus right now. You just got to be smart about it, right? Got to be more strategic.
And it gives you a chance to cut the fat of whatever your business has. If you have, let's say the restaurant or fast food has something that they need, or maybe they've been looking at cutting it for a while. This says, hey, we're going to eliminate this premium option because we want to look out for you, the customer, and we want to make sure that we have the best menu for you guys. So then if you get branded as the brand that also caters to the situation, whether it be the recession or whatever we're going to call it, then you're going to get so many more people.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to win long term. And that's the goal, right? Obviously, some people are very focused. How do I survive during the recession? And that's why we're making this podcast right now. It's like you need to change your thinking. Okay. If you're looking to just survive, you will, the max you will do is survive, right? It's kind of, shoot for the stars, land on the moon type deal. And some people might argue with me on that. But I say, don't just look to survive during this time. Look to thrive. Trust me, there's opportunity. I know, gosh, Dan and I are taking sales calls for that we're up and running. I hate saying that, but it's like there is opportunity. Don't let someone put fear into you. Don't let the news fear into that. There is an opportunity right now. There is 100% opportunity right now, and you have to remember that. Think on it. It's a great time to clean up. Kind of what Dan's saying: clean up, tighten up, improve strategy. Right? You may have been able to make it in a great economy being a sloppy business, right? But this is where the true players come out and they play, right? They show, hey, we're going to make it, right? Thinking strategically. They, start cleaning up their business, what Dan's saying, cutting some fat, making their business run more efficiently. And then on the other side of this, they're the ones that you see that rocket out. If you want the recession to be a launching pad, those are the businesses that do it. Those are the businesses that get creative during the recession, and then it's actually a launching point out of the recession. You see it all the time. Big business. I mean, look, not every big business didn't start off as a big business, right? And you might say, I don't have hopes of getting to a big business. That's fine. Mm-hmm. That's okay. But whatever goal you are, and you're not there yet, there's a journey to get there, and the recession could be used to get there. Absolutely. Hey, if you haven't rated or reviewed the show yet, please take 2 to 3 minutes to do so right now on whatever platform you listen on. It really helps the show rank better when people are searching for new podcasts to listen to. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where we post daily clips from the episode, and then we're just going to ask you to share those clips, right? You never know who of your friends are going to see that clip, and then they're going to start listening to the episode, and then their life changes because they hear something that really helps them overcome a challenge that they're experiencing in their business. It's really going to help them create breakthrough in their business and become limitless. Also, one last thing. Right now, we are offering a free 7-day trial into our Inner Circle group, Limitless Business Owners Inner Circle. And inside this elite group, you get to learn how you can experience immense, consistent growth inside your business, where you learn the strategies and tactics to grow your business, right? Surround yourself with like-minded people, other business owners that are experiencing what you're experiencing, that are going through it right now, that you can build key relationships with and learn from. And also some people ahead of you that can also teach you something that's going to help you overcome something in your business right now. And then last thing, you can leverage the strategies and tactics it takes to build your dreams and fulfill your purpose. Talk soon.